going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here. I was sitting there reading my Bible, and I just have a quick thing here to talk about. I was reading 1 Kings chapter 19, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 7 right quick. Verse 1 says, "And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life, and came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die, and said, It is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him, and said unto him, Arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baken on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. And the angel of the Lord came again the second time, and touched him, and said, Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. As I was reading this, I just was thinking about how often it's easy to become so overwhelmed by everything, so burdened by everything. And I'm sure that's how Elijah felt here. I'm going to read here what it says. I have a study Bible, and it kind of explains verses and stuff at the bottom. I'm just going to read kind of what it says here about some of these verses. Once at the distant city of Beersheba, Elijah goes from the high point of having won a contest with the prophets of Baal to this low point of post-traumatic depression. Elijah secludes himself, lies down, and prays to die. But Elijah's prayer is not answered. In fact, Elijah is one of the 2 men in the Bible to never die. This mighty man of prayer, mighty enough to make the rain and the dew stop for 3.5 years, and then mighty enough to make it start again at his prayer, has given up. His work is stressful and exhausting and seems to accomplish nothing. The great work on Mount Carmel did not result in a lasting national revival or return to the Lord. Right before he was on top of the mountain, he was doing the Lord's work, and it was affecting people, but it didn't affect people like he wanted, like he thought. He was wanting some grand, big revival, some big change in the people's hearts that he was working on and wanting, trying to help, and that the Lord was using him, and it just didn't go to the place that he wanted to go. And that's why he sits here and he says, Take away my life, for I'm not better than my fathers. I've not done anything better than the people before me. I've not made some big change. I've not done some big thing. And I think so often, not even in like Christian circles, just people in general, can become so bogged down and even depressed, just like Elijah here, because they feel worthless. They feel like their life is pointless. They feel they have no purpose. They feel like they're not doing anything worthwhile, worth anything that matters, and that their efforts are pointless, and that they a lot of people, they just kind of run and feel like they're not getting anywhere. They feel like, what's the point? That if they die today, what would any of it even matter? They just disappeared. Everything with them would disappear as well. They feel pointless. There's no point in it all. And Christians can feel the same way, just like Elijah here. He's doing the Lord's work. He's being led of by the Spirit, and he's doing the work, but he feels like it's not good enough. He's not good enough. He's not any better than the people that came before him. He's not any better than his father or his father before him. He feels like it's all pointless. It doesn't matter. And here he is sitting underneath this juniper tree and literally begging God to kill him. He's depressed. He feels like none of it matters. He's tired. He's stressed. He's exhausted. It seems like all his efforts seem to accomplish nothing. He's given up. And I love when the angel of the Lord comes and says, Arise and eat. And he comes the second time, and he brings him the food and the water to try to nourish him and just kind of encourage him and bring him back up. And then he says, for the second time, Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. So often we feel like the weight of the world is on our shoulders. We have all these things that we think that we're supposed to do, or all these things that we're trying to do. And we're running and we're running and running and running, and we're just burnt out and we're tired and we're exhausted. And we get to a certain point where we're just comfortable being exhausted because we're uncomfortable running and running and running and running and feeling burnt out all the time, you know? Elijah here, he's like, what's the point, man? I'm tired. I'm done. I don't feel like doing this anymore. This is all pointless. It doesn't matter. How often have so many people gotten to that point? I myself have gotten to that point so many times in my life where I'm just tired, man. I'm just exhausted at trying. I'm exhausted at doing everything. And, maybe you feel like the Lord's put things on your heart, burdens and responsibilities that are calling out to you, and you've tried to do them, and maybe you have done them, and there's still so much more, and you're just tired. You're stressed out. It feels like it doesn't matter. It feels like it's pointless. It's not doing anything. And you don't feel like you're good enough to do it in the first place, so you're just like, man, whatever, I don't care anymore. Screw this, I'm done. And you give up. That's where Elijah was right here, I think the kicker here, the thing that spoke to me, is the fact that the angel says, rise and eat because the journey is too great for thee. The problem is that I think that yes, there are things that God has called us to do, and there are things that is for us. I think the problem is that we take it all on ourselves and completely cut God out from the picture. We take it all on ourselves, and we think, we're alone in this, and we're tired of being alone in this, and we want someone to carry this burden with us, but there's no one to carry the burden with us because it's just our burden, and we take it all on ourselves. And men especially can do this, where they take it all on themselves. They got all these responsibilities, all these things calling out to them. They're supposed to be a husband, or they're supposed to be, a father, and they're supposed to be a good worker, and a good brother, and a good son, and all these things, and all these responsibilities, all these relationships to cultivate and nurture, and there's just too much. It's so overwhelming. It's so overbearing. And it's just like every day there's more weight piled up on your shoulders, and it's just overbearing you, and it's crushing you, and you're tired. And you're tired, and all these people are expecting something from you. The more you do, the more they expect it from you, and the more you do quote unquote great things, the more they expect more great things from you, and you're tired and you're sick of it, and you don't want any of it. That's the problem. You're trying to do it on your own. I myself have done that so many times, trying to do it on my own. Not only should we allow other people in, but not just that, but it's realizing that, yes, the journey is too great for me. It's supposed to be too great for me, because it's not supposed to be me doing the work. It's supposed to be the Lord doing the work. It's God who works through me. It's not me. I'm nothing. I'm literally nothing. I can't do it. I can't even get up in the bed in the morning on my own. Most simplest things, maybe even things that are the most simplest things to some people, are like astronomical difficulties for me, and have been in my life many times. Maybe they're supposed to be, because it's not me. You know what I mean? It's not. If I get to the point where I think it's all me, then I'm pushing God out the way. I'm pushing God to the side, and I'm trying to do it all on my own. And when I do that, everything falls apart. Everything falls apart. All the burdens, the weight that you're carrying, it starts to tumble and fall, and you fall with it. Everything falls apart. All these responsibilities, all these things, nothing happens, or it just falls apart because you're trying to do it on your own. One of the things that today, now in my life, I have to constantly remind myself is, you're only human. You're only human. So many times we think that we can handle it all. We think that we can do it. We think that we got it. I got this. I'm fine. I don't need your help. I'm good. I'm great. But you're not. And you're stressed out, and you're tired, and everything's falling apart, and you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. The journey's too great for you. We have to rely on God for everything. Everything. Everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody is dependent on something, right? You're dependent on a thing. Maybe you wake up in the morning and you're dependent on coffee. That's me right there. I depend on coffee every morning I wake up. I can't go unless I have that coffee, right? But bigger than that, for the bigger things, we're dependent on people. Maybe you're dependent on your spouse or your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your children. You're dependent on your job, your finances. You got all these things you're kind of leaning back on. You're dependent on. First of all of those things can change. All of those things can fall apart. So you shouldn't be dependent on those things, but we all do that. But everyone's dependent on something. You may be even dependent on yourself, right? You can't do that. You can't do that. I'm not saying that you can't lean in on in some shape or form, but I'm saying at the end of the day, the one thing that's going to keep you going, the one and only thing that's ever going to keep you going is God. I guarantee you that, man. I guarantee you. Look, I'm young. I'm only 21 years old. I'm turning 22 in March. But I've been through a lot of things, and I've lived through a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of things. I've read a lot of things. I've heard a lot of things, and I'm telling you right now, if you don't depend on God, if you don't focus on God, if you don't keep Him number one first in your life before everything else, before you, and you focus on His power and His ability, if you don't do that, you're going to get to these points like Elijah, where you're just burnt out, man. You're tired, you're exhausted, you're stressed out, and you'll start to push people away. You'll start to push things away, and it's going to kill you. You're going to suffer big time when you try to run from your responsibilities. You don't need to run from it, but you just need to realize that it's not on you. Yes, it's your job. It's your responsibility. These are things that are for you, but you cannot do it on your own. You can't. You can't do it on your own, man. Don't try to do it all on your own. I know how tempting it is. I know, especially as a man, I know how tempting it is to think that you gotta carry it all. You gotta carry it on, and you just gotta push through. You just gotta push through that mud, through that muck, through all the doubt, through all the fears, through all the depression and sadness and all the struggles and all of it. You just gotta keep going, keep going, keep going. No, man, you're going to fall. You're not gonna make it. You need God, because the journey is too great for you. Why would God give you these things? Why would God give you these burdens, these responsibilities, these things to do if you were just meant to do it on your own? There's no faith involved in that. There's no relationship. There's no connection between you and God. Why would it matter? God has given each and every one of us a purpose for our lives. You may not see it all. It's not going to be all black and white and just instantly known to you. There's steps, there's things, there's days, there's years, but the things that God has given you to do today, you cannot do them on your own. You can't. You need God. He wants you to rely on Him, because you can't do it on your own. That's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to go neck and neck. I got it written here. I got a piece of paper here sitting in my Bible. I wrote, I am unable. By the way, writing that was really freaking hard to write. Understanding that was really hard to understand. I didn't want to believe that. I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to think that I'm unable. No one wants to say that. Everyone in the world, they try to tell you, don't say those things. Don't think that thing. Think you're great, you're amazing, you got this, you're special, blah, 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 whatever. Sure, but no, I'm unable. I'm nothing. I'm nobody. I can't do it. The two best things I can remember. I am unable. This is why I need Christ. They go neck and neck. You don't just stop at the part that I'm unable. I can't do it. Yeah, I can't, but God can. And through me, I can. I am unable. But with Christ, I'm able. I can. I'm not an overcomer, but He is, and He lives inside of me, so I can overcome. I am unable. This is why I need Christ. Today, whatever you have to do, no matter what it is, even if it's just showing up to your job and just trying your best, whatever it is, remind yourself, I can't do it, but God can. I'm unable, but God isn't unable. He is able. He can do it. Depend on Him. and let other people in, and don't just try to hold it all in and just push through it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Arise and eat. Come to God. Come to his word, man. Come to the daily word, you know. Come to the daily bread. Come to the living water. Drink from that well. That'll replenish you, man. Just like it did for Elijah here. The angel, he came, he brought food, he brought water, and filled his hunger, filled his thirst, and said, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys got something from this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it spoke to you in some way, that God could use me, and that he can use you now. So just share with friends, like and subscribe, comment if you have anything to say, maybe some encouragement for someone else, just some encouragement for someone else to come along, whatever it is. Just keep it on, guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.